Joining me now for more on this standoff is Senator Markwayne Mullin. You've been watching this from the outside in Oklahoma since you left. Senator, what do you think is going to happen in Texas?
Well, these representatives are going to eventually have to come back home. I mean, that's where they live, and that's also where their paycheck comes from. But it's interesting to me, Brian, because you look at Illinois. Illinois is the worst gerrymandering district literally in the country. If you look at District 17 and District 13 in Illinois, it looks like snakes that are running through there. And then the second worst gerrymandered state is California. California has, believe it or not, 40% of their residents are registered Republicans, 60% Democrat. But yet they have 52 seats and only 9 seats are Republican. Now, how do you do that? You do it by gerrymandering. And it's interesting that both those governors are inviting Texas Democrat state reps to come to their state. It's like, I wonder if they know what they're talking about. Yes, they know what they're talking about. Their states need to be looked at. Lawsuits need to be filed in Illinois and California and make them redo their seats as well.
Kristen Welker actually pushed Governor Pritzker on this. He had absolutely no answer except for, in some subtle way, saying, please make me president. I want you to hear what Karl Rove said. No one knows Texas better than Karl Rove. Watch.
Both parties do it. And this is one of the fun things for me is that, take a look at this. Think about it. They went to Illinois. Trump got 40% of the vote in Illinois, and 82% of the members of the delegation are Democrats. New York, 43% for Trump, 73% of are Democrats. Then California, 38%, and 83% of the delegation are Democrats. And what about Texas? In Texas, Donald Trump got 56% of the vote, and the Republicans are 66% of the total. Now, what will happen is if the new plan is adopted, then 79% of the delegation will be Republican. That's assuming that the Republicans defeat a popular, albeit troubled, Democrat incumbent in South Texas who ran 6 points ahead of Kamala Harris.
You think Florida's going to be next? I mean, when Texas comes home, whatever happens, Florida says they're going to maximize things. New York, as you just heard, they're going to try to get more seats. California's going to try to get more seats. How does this play out over the next year?
Well, ever since the court case was ruled that you can't really draw maps based on race, but it's supposed to be strictly based on barriers in population, I think a lot of these maps are going to be redrawn. And guess what? This is going to be horrific for the Democrat Party because they have been gerrymandering their states to be able to make it even competitive. I mean, just look at our state population to begin with, and you start looking at the land mass that goes red versus goes blue. Why they're fighting so hard, why Illinois and Texas or in California are fighting so hard against Texas is because they know their state could possibly be redrawn, and of course they would lose seats. By the way, if you redraw red states, they're also going to pick up seats for Republicans. They're going to lose Democrat seats because they've been holding on to this court by race-based drawing districts, and that's no longer acceptable according to the courts. So this is actually great news for Republicans. It's horrible for Democrats.
I want to bring you to another fight. I know you're a guy that doesn't mind fighting. Trump versus Mamdani. This Democratic primary guy who won the Democratic primary and has 50% of the vote in almost every poll, leading by about 20 points, says he's going to be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. I want you to hear from Mamdani. Listen to this.
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And you don't need to take me at my word or take Andrew Cuomo at his. You need to only look at the actions of the Trump administration since I won the Democratic primary.
Is he going to be a nightmare for the president?
No, not a chance. Maybe you should pay attention to what the president has to deal with on the daily basis from the biased media. What is going to be a nightmare is for New York's economy. You're going to have companies fleeing the city of New York in droves. Can you imagine if you're right now and you're a capitalist and you're growing your company and you're looking at a state to go to, you're looking at a city to go to, are you paying attention to New York? No. And if you're a business guy right now in New York, are you looking to exit New York City? Absolutely you are. So the only thing he's going to be a nightmare on is New York City's budget.
Yeah, they also need a lot of funding for a lot of their programs, including Medicaid, from the federal government. And I believe the purse strings are at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. He'll learn that, but he knows very little because he has very little experience. Lastly, we keep hearing about. Go ahead. You want to comment before we move on?
No, I was just going to say, Brian, he has zero experience. He hasn't even won a general election yet. The guy hasn't even been elected yet. And I'm not saying he's going to be. In fact, in a way, I kind of hope he gets elected just so people can see what this socialist communist does to a big city like that. But in another way, I don't want to see the city fail either. Right. But the guy has no room to talk. After he wins the election, maybe he can run his mouth a little bit.
All right. Finally, can you explain to me what the nuclear option might be for the Senate? They are now holding up 144 of Donald Trump's nominees. I don't know if they object to any of them. They're just trying to make, I guess, Donald Trump pay a price for being Donald Trump and the Republicans for not being Democrats. What would a nuclear option look like? Because I always thought a nuclear option was a majority, and all you do need is a majority to get anybody nominated.
Well, actually, the nuclear option has already happened, Brian. What's happened with the nuclear option is exactly what the Democrats have done underneath Chuck Schumer by filibustering literally every one of President's nominees that we have nominated, with the exception of Marco Rubio. So out of 163 we've got nominated, or we've got confirmed, Chuck Schumer's literally he's filibustered 162 of them. So, and that's never happened before. This has never happened in any president in the history of the United States. In fact, underneath George H. Bush, the nominations, 98% of his nominees went by voice vote or by unanimous consent. So the nuclear option has already happened. What's happening now is the Republicans are going to have to respond to that. And what we're going to probably do, we got a couple of options. One, we can eliminate the debate time from 2 hours down to 15 minutes or 10 minutes, or eliminate debate altogether. Also, right now we have to go on every single nominee. We got to go in and out of legislative session into executive session. So it takes 4 votes per nominee, which is about a 4-hour time frame to get one nominee done. We can eliminate that and say we're just going to stay in executive session the whole time. And because Harry Reid actually went nuclear and went from 60 to 51 to change rules, we're just going to follow Harry Reid's path that he put on us, and we're going to have to change the rules so we can get President Trump's nominees in place. So we have several options. What we know we're going to have to do is we know we're going to have to do it because Chuck Schumer has made this decision himself. And so we're going to get President Trump's nominees confirmed, and we're going to do that in a fast pace, and we're going to change the rules probably, I would say, within the first week we get back.
Yeah, every department is running lean because these guys, the undersecretaries, the deputies, Mike Waltz, UN ambassador, got out of committee and is just waiting.
Right.
No one has objections to almost everybody. Right. Senator Markwayne Mullin, thanks for mirroring the lack of tie tonight. I love the way you matched the show. And thanks for leaving your family and walking into a van for us. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Brian.
All right, go get him. Meanwhile, Prime Minister